Alright, I am using the Ladybug to video, and then I put the video in Google Classroom so the kids are able to watch the video and work on the problems in enVision's workbook. The enVision workbook is nice because it's not as rigorous, so the kids are able to master the skill before they're able to work on word problems that are a bit more rigorous. Alright, so the videos are wonderful because you can use them in many different parts of the math framework. You can use them as a rotation in your math stations. You can use them for independent practice. You can use them in many different ways. So you could have it as a pre-teach before they meet with you at the back table for guided math. You could use it as independent practice. There's a program called Edpuzzle where you can pause your video and insert questions inside of there, and they'll have to answer it before they can go on, so that adds an extra accountability piece, which is nice. And you can also use it as just like a guided practice. So for my video example, they watch the video and then they go on to do their own questions. So it's guided and they can go back and forth, but it's really helpful. And in the math stations, it's nice because the students are still hearing your voice. They're still used to the way that you say things, but you're also able to help other students while they're doing that. So. All right, in these videos, the primary purpose is to work on their division practice. Many of our students are still kind of struggling with division, so I've made 3 separate videos for the different methods to divide. One is for the box method, one is long division, and the third one is dividing kind of using place value. So I like doing the different methods so that the students are able to choose what works best for them, because we know all students don't learn the same. So the students are able to pick which video they'd like to watch and then go through the question with me and work the problem, and then after the video they'll work on questions on their own. But what's wonderful about the video is they can pause and rewind if they missed a step or if they're working on the next problem and can't quite remember where to go next or are struggling with a step.
All right, friends, go ahead and get out your enVision's Math Book, Volume 1, and turn to page 433. So go ahead and pause the video until you get that book out and make sure you are ready. All right, so if we take a look on this page, we notice we've got some division problems. Now we know there are many different ways to divide. This video is going to show you how to divide using our box method. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do question 5 together. Now if you notice we've got these empty boxes, this is showing it long division, but we can still do this math problem together. So on a separate piece of paper, I'm going to draw my box, and we know we have 3 digits in our dividend, so we know our box is going to have 3 parts to it. And we know each number gets its own part in the box, so we will have a 4, 4, 4 divided by 6. And as always, we have to have our Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? And we can put our menu over here. So remember, the first thing that we do is we cover up all the other boxes and we think to ourselves, I am making groups of 6. If I have 4 cookies, how many groups of 6 can we make? Well, we know if we only have 4 cookies, we don't have 6 to make even one group. So our division here is 0. We can make 0 groups of 6 with our 4 cookies. So that is our D for division. Our next step is to multiply. We made 0 groups of 6, so 0 times 6 is 0. Our next step is to subtract. So we're going to subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. Our C tells us to check. We need to check, is 4 less than 6? And we know, yes, it is. We know if it was bigger than 6, we need to go back and check our math because we did something wrong. Then our B tells us to bump it on over, and now we have 44. So we need to decide how many groups of 6 can we make with 44. So now let's go over to our menu. I know that 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. I can keep going. 6 times 7 is 42. That's close. Let's try one more. 6 times 8 is 48. We don't have 48 to make groups with, so we know we can only make 7 groups. So that is our division. We're going to put our 7 on top. Check off our D for division. Now we multiply. We made 7 groups of 6, which is 42. Subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. We need to check. 2 is still less than 6, so we're good to go. We can bump our 2 on over. Now we have 24. So we need to figure out how many groups of 6 can we make with 24. So if we go backwards, 6 times 4 is 24. So we know we can make exactly 4 groups with our 24 cookies, 4 groups of 6. That's our division. 4 times 6 is 24. We subtract, we get 0. 0 is less than 6, so we're good to go. We don't have any other boxes to bring anything over, so we put an X. Now we know our problem is done. So we know our answer is 74. And if we want to check our work, we do 74 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Drop our 4, carry our 2. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 4 is 44. So we know we got our answer right. All right, friends, go ahead and continue on. You're going to do question 6, 7, and 8 on your own. You may work it in the book or on a blank piece of paper, but make sure you number them. And if you need help, why don't you ask your partner? Thank you, friends, and get to work.
Alright, so this tool is pretty wonderful because it's kind of like cloning yourself, and what teacher doesn't want to have multiple yous in the classroom. So it's wonderful, especially in boot camp. We used it this year when each teacher was teaching a different subject. I was able to do videos, and in one classroom we were able to do, the students could work on multiple subjects but still hear my voice for my subject. And so there's something really powerful about the students hearing your voice because it's familiar to them and they really understand more than just watching a video that was made by somebody else that they don't know. And it's just wonderful because you can use it in so many different ways. Even if you don't have a 1-to-1 Chromebook ratio, you could do it in small groups. You could have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 students watching the video all at once on one Chromebook, and then they could work together on something. You could partner work. There's many different ways that you can use this, and you could have a few students working on it and then walk around the room and see who's struggling and work one-on-one with those students. So it's just kind of a magical tool that all teachers would love to have to make more of you. So I'm really in love with this tool, and it's kind of changed the way that I've teaching this year. So.
All right, friends, you should go ahead and have out your Math enVisions book, Volume 1, and we are going to turn to page 433. So go ahead and make sure you are there. If you need a little time, pause your video. So this video is going to show our division problem using long division. So we know there's many different ways to divide, but some of us, the long division is the easiest for them. So this video is for you. So notice on this page, we have little boxes for our long division. They're kind of helping you figure out where to start. So I'm going to write it on a separate piece of paper. You are welcome to work it in your book or on a separate piece of paper. But we know we need to have our division problem. Our menu goes here. And then maybe down here we can have our does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers. So we know the first thing we need to take a look at is cover up all the numbers except for the first one and our divisor. We know we're making groups of 6 and we have 4 cookies. If we only have 4 cookies, we cannot make any groups of 6. So we put our 0 up top. That is our division. We made 0 groups. Now we need to multiply. 6 times those 0 groups that we made is 0. Next, we need to subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. Now we need to check, is 4 less than 6? Yes, it is. And if it was bigger than 6, we know we did something wrong and we need to go back and double check. So 4 is definitely less than 6. Our B tells us to bring this 4 down. So now we know we have 44 cookies to put into groups of 6. So let's use our menu. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. We're almost there. Let's try one more. 6 times 8 is 48. We went over. We don't have 48 cookies to make groups with. We only have 44. So we know we can only make 7 groups. So our 7 goes up top. That is our division. Now we multiply. 7 groups of 6, or 7 times 6, is 42. Now we need to subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. Now we need to check. Is 2 less than 6? And we know yes it is, so we're good to go. Now we need to bring this 4 all the way down, and notice how I draw my arrow all the way to where that number needs to go. That way we don't get confused, because when we have 4 and 5-digit dividends, it does get easy to get confused. So we brought it down. Now we have 24 cookies, and we're putting them in groups of 6. If we take a look at our menu, we know, hey look, exactly 4 groups of 6 is 24 cookies. So we know we can make 4 groups. That's our division. Now we multiply. 6 times 4 is 24. We subtract. We get 0. Check. Yep, 0 is less than 6. We don't have anything else to bring down, so we put an X, so we know we're done. So our answer is 74, and to check it, 74 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Drop my 4. Carry my 2. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 2 is 44. This number matches this number, so we know we got it right. All right, friends, go ahead and continue working on questions 6, 7, and 8. Like I said, you can do it in the book or you can do it on a separate piece of paper. Just make sure you turn either of them in, whichever one you decide to do. And if you get really, really stumped, ask someone in your group for help. All right, friends, go ahead and get to work. Alright guys, make sure you have your enVision's math book out, the volume 1, and we are turned to page 433 for some division work today. Now we know there are multiple ways to divide. My previous 2 videos showed the box method and long division. This one is going to show a different method of division where we're kind of taking out our place value groups. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to you guys now. We're going to do the problem 444 divided by 6. So when we set it up, it kind of originally looks like our long division, but soon we see that it is very different. So we still draw our long thing down here, but next to it we need to draw our numbers 1,000, 500, 200, 100, 50, 20, 10, 5, 2, and 1. And you'll notice we kind of have a pattern here. 1, 5, 2, 1, 1, 5, 2, 1, 1, 5, 2, 1. So what we need to do is take a look at our groups and see what do we have that we can make into groups. So we know our divisor is 6. So we're taking this times these numbers and seeing, hey, can I take those groups out of here? Well, we know 6 times 1,000 is 6,000. We don't have 6,000. We only have 444. So we'll cross that off. Next is 500. We know that 6 times 5 is 30. And then we add our 2 zeros. That's 3,000. We don't have 3,000 to take out, so we're going to cross that one off too. 6 times 200 is 1,200. We don't have that. 6 times 100 is 600. We don't have that either. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 0 is 300. Hey, we do have that. So I'm going to take out my 300. I'm going to write my 50 here. So when you find a group that you can take that out, you have to write it here because this is part of our answer. If we forget that, we can't get our answer and it gets confusing. So 4 minus 0 is 4. 4 minus 0 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. So now I know I can't take another 50 out or another 300 out. So I'm going to cross that off. 6 times 2 is 12 with a 0 on the end of it is 120. I do have that. I'm going to put my 20 here, and we're going to subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, and then we have 0. Let's see if we can do 10 times 6 is 60. I don't have that. 6 times 5 is 30. I don't have that. 6 times 2 is 12. I do have that. I'm going to put my 2 here. And if we subtract 4 minus 2 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 12. So if I do 6 times 2 again, that's exactly 12, so I can make another group of 2. And when I do that, I get 0. So once you get down here and it's 0 or it's less than your 6, that's when you know you're done. So now I need to add up these numbers. So 50 plus 20 plus 2 plus 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 5 plus 2 is 7. So that is our answer, 74. And to check it, we would do 74 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Drop our 4, carry our 2. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 is 44. This number is the same as what we started off with, so we know we got our question right. Like I said before, friends, it does not matter what way you divide as long as you can understand it and it works for you. So go ahead and continue question 6, 7, and 8 on a separate piece of paper, and make sure you turn that paper in when you're done with your station. If you are really stuck on a question, go to the next one. But if you really need help, ask your partner or the person in your group. All right, friends, thank you guys, and thank you for working hard today.